Imagine a day so dark, the sun itself seemed to have vanished. A day when the sky, instead of being a brilliant blue, turned into a terrifying rolling cloud of black dust. This isn't a scene from a disaster movie. This was the reality for millions of Americans during what became known as the Dust Bowl. Today we're going back in time to one of the most severe environmental catastrophes in American history, focusing on a single, unforgettable day, April 14th, 1935. A day forever known as Black Sunday. For years leading up to 1935, the Great Plains, America's breadbasket, had been suffering. A severe drought had gripped the land, turning fertile soil into fine, loose dust. Decades of intensive farming, without understanding the consequences, had stripped the land of its natural grasses that held the soil in place. The stage was set for a disaster of epic proportions. Farmers, already struggling through the Great Depression, watched helplessly as their livelihoods literally blew away in the wind. They had come to the plains seeking a dream, but now they were living a nightmare. Life was a constant battle against the dust. As people called it dusters. These weren't just small clouds of dirt. They were massive, towering walls of soil that could block out the sun for hours, even days. Housewives would seal their windows and doors with wet towels and tape, but it was a losing fight. A fine layer of grit covered everything: their food, their water, the beds where they slept. Children developed coughs that wouldn't go away, a condition they called dust pneumonia. Every gust of wind brought a new wave of fear and despair. Then came Black Sunday. The morning of April 14th, 1935, started out deceptively calm and clear in places like Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle. Families, trying to find a moment of normalcy, went to church. Children played outside, enjoying the rare pleasant weather. No one could have predicted the horror that was brewing on the horizon. Without the advanced weather forecasting we have today, they were completely unaware that a massive cold front was colliding with the warm, unstable air over the plains, gathering up millions of tons of loose topsoil as it went. Round mid-afternoon, the sky began to change. Witnesses described a strange, eerie stillness before a low rumble began to build in the distance. Then they saw it, a colossal wall of blackness, a moving mountain of dust, stretching from one end of the horizon to the other. It was said to be over 1,000 feet high and was moving at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. Birds fell from the sky, and panicked jackrabbits and coyotes fled before the storm. It was as if nature itself was trying to escape. As the duster hit, day instantly turned to night. It wasn't just dark, it was an absolute, suffocating blackness. You couldn't see your hand in front of your face. Electricity failed, plunging homes into an even deeper darkness. People who were caught outside were forced to crawl on their hands and knees, trying to find their way to shelter. Cars stalled as the thick dust clogged their engines, leaving drivers stranded in the terrifying chaos. Inside their homes, families huddled together, listening to the roar of the wind and the unsettling sound of fine sand pelting their windows. The experience was profoundly terrifying. Many truly believed it was the end of the world. The air became so thick with dust that it was difficult to breathe. People stuffed wet rags in their mouths and noses, but the fine particles still found their way into their lungs. The static electricity generated by the storm was so intense that it caused blue flames to leap from metal objects, and people would get shocked just by touching each other. For hours, this man-made apocalypse raged across the plains, an event that would be seared into the collective memory of a generation. When the storm finally passed and a dim, hazy light returned, the world was transformed. Everything was buried under a thick blanket of dust. Fields were ruined, homes were partially buried, and livestock had perished. But the most significant impact was on the people. For many, Black Sunday was the final straw. It was the moment they realized there was no future for them on the plains. The storm had not only stripped the land of its soil, but it also stripped them of their last glimmer of hope. In the aftermath, the Great Migration began. Hundreds of thousands of families, now homeless and destitute, packed up what little they had left and headed west, mostly to California. These migrants, often derogatorily called Okies, were looking for work, for a new beginning, for a place where the dust couldn't reach them. Their journey, immortalized in John Steinbeck's novel The Grapes of Wrath, was filled with hardship and prejudice. They were American refugees in their own country, driven from their homes by an environmental disaster they had inadvertently helped create. The Dust Bowl and Black Sunday served as a brutal, but necessary, wake-up call. The U.S. government finally began to take action. Under President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal, programs like the Soil Conservation Service were established. They taught farmers new techniques like crop rotation, contour plowing, and planting shelter belts of trees to break the wind. It was a massive effort to heal the land and prevent such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The lessons learned from the Dust Bowl fundamentally changed American agriculture and our understanding of environmental stewardship. The story of Black Sunday is more than just a history lesson about a big dust storm. It's a powerful story of human resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship. It's a cautionary tale about the delicate balance of our ecosystem and the consequences of ignoring it. The survivors of the Dust Bowl carried the physical and emotional scars for the rest of their lives. But their story reminds us of the strength of the human spirit and our ability to learn, adapt, and rebuild, even after the darkest of days. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as compelling as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you next time.